Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Monday Morning Moments with Mark. This week, I want to share two moments where in one, I invested in my future happiness, hopefully, and in another one, I found out that I had not, and the return wasn't exactly what I expected out of it. I thought about naming this episode something to do with return on investment or something, but I realized that doesn't make sense until after you watch it. So we're talking about our responsibility for our own happiness. Most of us are aware of our regular daily responsibilities, but we often neglect what responsibility we have to our own happiness. I'm going to share two moments with you from this week that allowed me to reflect on that. The first one is as I was going through the process of taking down my Christmas lights this weekend. Um, Anyone that knows me can tell you that I take putting up the Christmas lights very serious. Well, this was the first year that I had done it in the new house. Last year, my son Mitchell did it, and he did what he did, and it was great. Worked, got us through the holidays. It was fantastic. But this year, I wanted to go through my process that I had done, and it's quite the process. I actually got I got diagrams, 4 pages of different diagrams. I like to know where everything's at. And how it goes because I want it to be an efficient and effective process. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I did not have those going into this, and it took me quite a while to get the lights worked out this year, and where everything went, and I was learning as I went. And that laborious part of that process was sucking the joy out of, and it was becoming very time consuming for me to be able to do other things and enjoy other parts of the holiday season, and it was just kind of wearing on me. So I decided that those drawing those diagrams, and meticulously putting away things, as my wife hates when I say this, but packing to unpack, um, was something I had to do for myself. I could not go through that headache again next year. What else happened about it? So I invested in the process and did all of that. But another thing happened, another moment within a moment, I guess, was my buddy Josh came over to help me, and he had no idea what he was getting into. He comes over, he thinks we're going to take the lights down, throw them in the box, and see him next year. He shows up, and I got a notepad and a pencil, and I'm walking around like drawing diagrams of where plugs are located at. And this is taking a while. And then we get into the process of taking the lights down, and I'm doing it very methodically, and I could tell, it's not his process, and that's gonna wear on anybody. It was wearing on me. So I took a moment to stop and actually share with him why it was important to me. Basically explaining that I don't want to deal with this next year. I don't want this headache. So I'm investing the time now so that next year I can get my lights up in 3 hours instead of 3 weeks, and I can focus on other parts of the holiday season. He knows that putting up the lights is important to me, but he didn't necessarily understand why all of this meticulous process and what I wanted to get out of it in the end, why that part was important to me. So once I explained that to him, I felt like it was, you know, we had a bit of a meshing of values there where his value to want to be just be a good friend and be a helpful guy because he's a good dude like that, and then my value of why what I wanted to get out of this process and being efficient later, and saving myself some headache. We were able to mesh those values together. When you do that, when you explain your why to people, it makes it a lot easier for them to buy into helping you. The second thing that I had is an instance where I saw the return, and the return was not what I expected because I had not properly invested in it. We were getting ready for my son's football banquet last night, which is a dress up kind of affair, and I had not put very much thought into who was supposed to be wearing what. In my brain, this was something that we had solved during the school year. I knew I had an idea of what I was going to wear. Um, my wife's going to wear whatever she wants, and he would, I thought he already had an outfit put together. So as the night starts to unfold, he starts having questions about what should I wear, is this that, and I'm like, why are we having this discussion? So I start offering suggestions, and, well, why don't you have this? Well, what happened to this? And my wife is watching this, and in a moment she stops, and she could tell I'm starting to get frustrated or whatever, and she says, um, if you wanted a specific outfit, you should have done something about it before now. That's on you, not anybody else. And in that moment, that simple phrase of accountability, for which I am extremely appreciative, did two things for me. The first one is it prevented any anger, frustration, anything, because all of the onus was put back on me. If I had some sort of desired outcome, why had I not put any investment into seeing that through? Was it important to me? Yes. Did my family know it was important to me? Yes. Anyone that knows me knows that dressing up and doing the thing for a special event is important to me. Um, but had I done anything to express the importance of this instance to anyone? Nope. Had I done anything to reflect that it was important? Had I taken any action? Had I asked about the event? Had I asked what clothes? Had we done any preparation? Had I invested any bit of time into that? Nope. Subconsciously, not even a conscious thought, subconsciously, I just assumed that, whatever my desired outcome was going to be because of like some previous expression of important. No, how can I expect that of anyone else if I myself, until that very moment, had not had one conscious thought about who should be wearing what? And in that moment, I looked at myself in the mirror, finished tying my tie, and said, well, I guess it wasn't that damn important. Now, was it? Um, the second thing that moment of accountability did for me was it allowed me to go through that reflective process and to rationalize the failed outcome. Why did I not get like what I expected out of it? Was because I hadn't invested anything into the process. What did you think was going to happen? Magic? Sometimes, yeah, you get lucky, but no. So when you have that opportunity to rationalize through that, it makes coping with loss and failures so much easier because you can understand exactly how your inaction or action, or in this case inaction, or sometimes that of others, why you don't get the result that you expected. And we'll dig more into that next week when we talk more about the mechanics of process ownership, and how it truly translates into happiness when we take that ownership. So go be responsible for yourself, and invest in your process of your own happiness.